What up, Vafi? You know what? While it is on my mind and my ADHD doesn't kick in, I am literally sending you my calendar. I figured out how to get it working. I had to attach it to my work calendar. Hold on. Hodl. Because it wouldn't show up. Where is it not on here? Bro. Create. I should have this thing. Open booking page. Well, this doesn't seem right. Is that right? Is that aligning with my calendar? Hold on. Hodl. Alright, so if I look at Wednesday, 12:30 should not be available. Wednesday. Okay, this is right. Share. Link. Single booking page. Copy link. Done. And then I'll do this off screen. All right, I actually just missed your last chat too. No, why? There we go. Feel free to grab like an hour. It might only let you schedule 30 minutes, but find an open hour. No cam? Ah, oh, damn it. Hold on. Freaking OBS, dude. It updated like 2 weeks ago and it has stopped like automatically picking up my webcam. There we go. I just don't play video games that often, Kraut, and the video games I do play, I'm playing Oblivion right now, and that's gonna take a ton of my time. Okay. Dude, you guys see my Monday yesterday? Literally, whoop. In fact, I'm just gonna block this right now. That's focus time. Ask before scheduling. This is a cheat code right here. Like, that's how you protect your time. All right, let me switch that over, get this over here. All right, where did we leave off yesterday? Yesterday we left off, had to leave early because I had to do a 9 a.m. interview, which is actually a really good interview. The candidate did great. She's a very good communicator. But this John right here, I think this filtering right here is what's possibly screwing us. So we can do like a yield star effect.log. I'll just throw in notifications here. We'll do notifications.length. because we were only getting 4 yesterday. Sure, we'll download this. What up, Cruz? Even hitting this, I wonder if it's sending a limit. We get a whole handful of notifications. Token is expired. Of course, we have to log back into our token. 1 second. Sure. Okay. We should be logged in here. Should see that go away. Okay, we're good there. Now when we run this, let's give it the first run of the morning here. Watch, it just works. I'd lose my mind. Yeah, it didn't create that. But if we go and look at the budget, the budget, I think we did end up creating the transactions, right? No, we didn't. All right, so yeah, we didn't even hit this, which is interesting. Like, we didn't see this log. All right, so we hit that log. We don't hit the second log, so we must be failing on this, right? Like, we do a effect.tap error, and then we do a effect.log error right here. What happens? Nothing. What if we do just a tap? So we got 3 transactions. And I think, let's just confirm that we are fetching option.get or undefined. So these should be good. Let's yield star effect.log info, and we'll say options, and let's do updated after and type, and this should show us the correct data here. Oh, options, yeah. Five, 7. I'm doing something stupid. Have you worked with Node Daemon? Yes, I have, Cruz. What up, Mizzy?
Functions describe the world.
It's so weird that we only get 4 back. Because if I come in here, that's the exact timestamp. 41 items compared to 4. What if I send a limit? I'd assume that the limit gets set. Oh, that was the fucking problem. Well, maybe not. 5.7, 5.9. Nope, that was it. Yep. That was the problem. There it is. That's still not all of our stuff, but we at least got transactions there. Alright, we're getting closer. So that was certainly the issue. So we can go back and we can delete this and just pass options because it'll default. We can get rid of these. We can go 14 up and get rid of that. Let's see if we get this. I find it so interesting that we're not hitting this log right here. Yeah, it's NodeMon. Yeah, you're right, Kraut. I mispronounced it. I'm new to React and I'm trying to do a sign-in login project that saves my form data to the local server. Is that the right place to learn if I should use something else? Try... Yeah, Cruz, there is a couple really good resources for learning authentication. Let me grab you these quick. The first one would be... what is the name of the book? Oh, come on. Lucia Auth. We'll have a link to it. The Copenhagen book. Where's that? How do I get to this? Oh yeah, this is just the link. This will teach you how to do authentication in your apps. Read that, and then read this. This is gonna have everything you need to know for doing security. Like key management, forgot password. It's gonna teach you the best way to do it. This is 100% the best way. Get out. What browser do you use, Kraut? All right, let's see here. It's still a little sus that I don't see this log here. Oh, because we've returned there. Ha! Oh, that's dumb. Of course we don't see that log. Skill issue. You're welcome, Cruz. Okay. So we get there. I still don't fully understand why we're not. We should be seeing 6 of these. We're seeing an error on the updates. We can go check the trace in a second. But I'm wondering if we commented anything out yesterday. No. All right, let's go look at the traces, and that will tell us what's happening here. Oh my god, Axiom. I'm gonna need this company to fix their style sheets. Look at this. Oh my god. What? Now I'm confused. That's fucking nice. That just filtered to one of our fields. In fact, we can do this. Paste that, and we'll do expense updated instead. And now we'll highlight our spans that we're looking for. Notification already processed. Notification ID 127593. 593, that is the update. Now they're both in error. PHP's good. PHP's gotten really good over the years. In fact, we can filter these down to group IDs too. Let me grab the group ID, copy that, and then we'll commit that. And then we'll run again, and then we'll filter our traces on group ID. The other thing is we can filter out our IDs too in code. Fun. So we should have another one at 741. Yep. And let's paste in our group ID. All right, there we go. Now we have our spans here. We errored. You can see we did a retry here. It looks like it succeeded eventually. Alright, chat, I'm gonna run to the bathroom and let my dogs out to also run to the bathroom. And oh fuck, I have 10 overdue tasks in greenhouse. Oh yeah, this isn't a big deal. Dude, I just got an email from work that I had 10 overdue tasks. But I already did all these. And it just doesn't sync. Damn. Mild panic. What's the hotkey for your desktop Zoom on Mac? Yeah, sorry. I'll make this bigger. We'll filter it on the, we'll filter out the IDs we just want when I get back. So like in here, actually we can just do that so I don't forget. Let's pump that over, pump this over, close this, and we'll do the IDs. Notifications. Oh shit, I should have. I'll have to run this one more time, quick. We'll grab these two IDs. Where are they at? And we'll just filter out everything else. Sure. So we'll say, we'll do effect dot and we'll do r dot filter, and then we'll say we'll get a notification, and we'll say notification dot includes notification.id, and then we'll grab these two values. Paste that in there. And then the other one is this one. Throw that in there like that. Or a comma. All right, that should filter out our notifications. And now we'll only get spans for those. So when we run this, when we get back, we'll only see spans for those 2 notifications. I'm certain that when we figure this out, we're gonna be like, Dylan was stupid, skill issue. All right, I will be right back. And then we'll figure this out. Okay, I'm back. Couch stream for sure. Bro, it's like kind of cold today. Alright, let's clear the database since we just ran this. It's good. Okay, great. Alright, this should only process 2 notifications now, which are the added and updated. And we should, that's actually correct. We would actually expect to only see 2 because it's working on the same expense. So this one ended in error. So let's go look at the trace. Nginx, baby, not Nginx. 104. Damn. What is it in Raleigh right now? 68 in Raleigh. So I guess it's like kind of not that cool. It's just cool in my house. Oh my god. How do all these notifications just build up? Yeah, dude, I don't know if I've mentioned this on case, but I lived in Phoenix for like a year and a half. So I understand the heat. His last name is Beckley. I just call him Fuckley. Alright, so we get notifications, and by the time we handle, these should already be filtered out by this point. Expense added, we can collapse that, and this is going to be expense updated. Yep. And what does it say? Our ElectroDB type is read only and cannot be updated. I know that error. I thought we fixed this. Hold on, I know this error, chat. We know this error. We fixed this error. So we must have missed. Yeah, right there. That was the bug. Or was it? No, the bug's right here. That's the bug. Guaranteed. Maybe not guaranteed, but I'm highly suspicious that that's actually the bug. So let's go back over to Splitwise or YNAB, reject these, run our script, and hopefully we'll see them pop in here. Or yeah, we would only see one transaction because it updates it. Yeah, we see that updated at pays foobar. And then we should see that there's no errors in this trace now. Yeah. Unlock notification worked. Great. If we look in the database, we should see that neither of these 2 rows have error status. Completed. Oh, it's probably my space heater. I have a space heater running in my office. Is the noise off now? Sorry. I didn't realize I would have assumed my mic or my MacBook would have drowned that out. Do I sound any different now? I think OBS is set up to pick input. I don't think I have to do that. Yeah, okay. All right, so now I want to go back and I want to let's grab from the beginning of May, because we should see deleted transactions, which we should come in and just implement deleted, because we now have updated. We have updated working and we have adding working. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. This can work fine, actually. I actually don't want these like that. Separate all tabs. Splitwise, not split browser. So if I go back to May 6th, let's try running that again and see if I pick that up. Delete those. Let's jump over to this. They're already deleted. And then we're gonna go to here. And we want to go to budget sync. In here, we go to the date, which is up top. And we'll change this to the 6th. And we should get another transaction now when we run this. I would have expected that. Hold on, Justine's calling me. Yeah, it's up.
Hey, do you want me to?
What?
Sorry, my car. It like disconnected and reconnected you like 3 different times. You want me to stop at Wegmans to move or anything?
The only thing I can really think of is English muffins, but if you do stop, could you grab more berries?
What are we doing for dinner? We can't eat out again.
Let's just do breakfast for dinner. And then we can unthaw some chicken that's in the fridge and cook that tomorrow night.
Okay. Then I'll stop over then. Yeah, I'm debating going into the office.
Okay.
I don't really want to.
I'm getting a call from Duke Health on the other line. 1 second. Well, I'll just talk to you. Yeah, I have one at 10, but hold on. Well, I'll talk to you when you get home. Hello? Oh, Jesus Christ. They cancel my appointment an hour before it happens and then treat me like I'm the fucking bad guy. Yeah, I had an appointment in an hour, a virtual appointment with my psychiatrist, and they canceled and they had to bump it out to July. And then they're like, well, we can't reschedule until your insurance is updated. And I was like, okay, let me fucking find my insurance card. And fortunately, I had an insurance card on my desk, so I used that quick. And then she's like, I don't see that plan coming up in our system. So I went to Sequoia's website and I triple checked it and it was fine. She's like, oh, I can't add out of state insurance. I was like, okay. So like, what do you want me to do? She's like, I'm gonna have to transfer you to finance. I was like, Jesus Christ. So I got transferred to finance and they were able to take care of it. And then I had to get transferred back to reschedule. Fucking mess, dude. And the entire time, well, the finance lady was very polite. The scheduling lady was annoyed. I'm like, bitch, like, you disrupted my day and my schedule. Like, this is not my fault. Because it's American healthcare, Kraut. That's how it works. You get just screwed over and over again and treated like it's your fault for everything. All right. Now that that headache is dealt with, we did update the date, right, to fetch the more recent transactions here, because we should have a transaction. This one right here, 5/6/2025. We should be picking this one up. I don't know why we're not picking up coffee. Because if I come in here and I do a... Oh, it's because I'm... Did I remove the filter? This surely has a... It's got to have a notification ID around it somewhere, right? Coffee... Expense ID. Is this not notifications? Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. We want to go back to last week and we want to find the coffee. Where did I do this? This should have a notification ID on it. Surely, right? It's gotta. It literally does not. That's so annoying. All right, let's come over here and we will filter this. We'll just use JQ here. And we'll say, or JSON path, I guess. And we'll do .id. What is it? It's like this .id star. There we go. And we want to do, so like this. How do we select fields with JSON path? Select ID and name from array JSON path. Star, there we go. The ID, is that correct? And then we wanted name. We'll do ID and type. ID and type. Is that right? It doesn't feel like it's working. That didn't work. Okay. We'll do this the easy way. What is the notification ID of the copy? There we go. All right. Now we should see it. In fact, we could probably just get rid of the filter now that I'm thinking about it, but just to sanity check before we get a bunch more spans, we'll go ahead and run this. And now we should see more entries in here. Ooh, we got an error. What is that error? Ah. Invalid expense group. I wonder if it gave me the wrong coffee. Raccoon coffee, that is the wrong one. Wrong ID. Give me other coffee noties. More. I bet I filtered it to the 7th instead of the 6th. Yep, that's what I did. Silly me. There we go. That is the one we wanted. And let's go clean our data. Get you out of the way, refresh this, delete you. Go clean up Splitwise. There's probably a transaction over here. Yep, reject that. And let's run this now. And we should hopefully see this work. That looks good. We should see 2 transactions in here. Yep. Excellent. That looks good. We should see, that looks correct. All of this should be in completed state. Nice. Okay. We've got added and updated working. We now need to go do deleted. And we should have a deleted in here. In fact, we should fix this payee. Let's check the notification data and see if we can derive the payee from this. So we get an expense here. We see that it came users Anders. So we can get the other name. All right, that looks good. Let's write some fracking code, shall we? Okay, so in here, the first thing I want to do, let's get rid of this filtering because we don't need this anymore. We fixed that problem. Let's see here. Let's close that. And we want to clean that, get rid of this. We'll keep this for now. Let's go ahead and bump these out to an errors file. And import schema. Okay, that looks good. Jump back over to our other file, and then we can import all of these. Hopefully add all missing exports. Great. That looks good. That looks good. Nice. All right, that looks good. And then we come down here to our do we get the other users share anywhere? We should get the other users share, right? Okay. So we'll come in here and invalid shares count, current user share. Then we'll basically split this, and we'll do the other direction here, and we'll say find C, delete to U, other users share, and we'll change this to why can't I get to my equal? We'll replace that with an exclamation point. Does this need to be a number? In fact, we'll just die here. It's really not the right error. Users share not found for expense. I guess we can just do something like we'll replace users with counterparty. We'll do something like that, and we'll add a we have the expense ID, so we don't need the notification ID. We'll just use that, and we'll do that and import that. Delete you. Now we can get the name when we create the expense. Excuse me. Where do we create the Splitwise YNAB transaction create payee name? This will be counterparty. In fact, we should go rename that. This is other user share dot user dot first name, And then we'll say, what's the right way to do this? We'll do another, and we'll say other user share dot user dot last name, and then we'll do this, and it'll be another template literal inside here, and we'll do other user share dot user dot last name, and we need to put a space in front of it. Does that work? It does not work, does it? Can I not nest? Yeah. That should really be a ternary instead. And then we'll do just an empty, wait, where does that close up at? That should be where the ternary is, right? And we don't need a space there. In fact, let's convert this to a function. And we'll put that in our prelude, and we'll say export function get user full name from share. Share, and we'll return. We'll change other. This will just be share. There we go. Ink and Word. Go back, and here we'll do get user full name from share. This will be other user share. Now we can get this counterparty started. Oh yeah. Even Winnie's all about it. Dude, it's gotta be exhausting being my dogs, barking at every little noise all day long. It's gotta be such a stressful life. This should be created at. All right, that should look good there. Well, what the hell did we break here? Oh, the error. We have to add the new error, which will be here, counterparty share expense. There we go. Great, great, great. Then let's go to other user share, and we'll rename this to counterparties share. Yeah. All right, so we wanted to do that. Let's go ahead and delete these. When we run this now, we should see that the pay is Anders rather than empty. That looks good. And if we go to YNAB, Anders, look at that. I don't know why it categorized it as restaurants. That's Suspicious. YNAB tried to auto do that. That's okay. Let's make sure that's true though. Should be a category in here. Maybe not. I must not store the category. Oh, no, I do. I wonder where it picked that up from. Dining out, TV, phone, internet. Interesting. No, so this is like a this is like an IOU account, right? So like when I ran that, here, I'll do it again. When I run this, this is saying that Anders owes me $40 for this one, and that he owes me $10 for this one. Right? Because if we look at what the actual transactions are in here, I paid $20. Anders owes me 10. I paid $100. Anders owes me 40. At Anders something. That's so funny. I'm gonna screenshot that and send that to him right now. What are we listening to? I'm gonna put this in overheard. We have a Slack channel at Vercel called Overheard, which is basically no context quotes. Where is the Overheard channel? There it is. What up?
Dead.
You look dead.
The fuck?
You look dead. You walked in just like your legs weigh like bricks.
They do weigh bricks. And I've made a grave mistake.
Back-to-back cycle classes.
And I'm also signed up for a class tonight.
Oh yeah, you're screwed. I almost have this working.
Hell yeah.
I just have to get deleted transaction and payments in yet.
Nice.
I might be able to get it done this morning.
Yeah, you also said this would be done by the weekend.
Yeah,
Last
well, we had some setbacks. Classic software engineering estimates. Am I right, chat? Crowd said just cycle through it. It's official, Colin. You've graced the Vercel Slack.
Nobody does. I'm unwell. Oh man, I got like a protein drink at Wegmans, hoping that'll
Ooh, this slaps.
maybe give me.
What is this? Did somebody request this? American football?
Like.
Requested by Colin. Let's go.
for work.
Alright. Are you going to the office?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Why?
I have to go in once a week, and I'm not working Thursday or Friday.
Alright. No, let me shut my door.
Mel needs a new book anyways. Will you try to keep your eye out on the ring? My roses are going to be delivered today, and I just want them unboxed and on the porch.
Yeah.
I'll plant them.
Yeah.
Later,
Do you want me to put them on the patio?
Yeah, the patio porch.
Or inside? Do you want it inside in case it rains all day or what?
For now, yes. I want to evaluate them before I move them outside.
Okay. Will you let me know when you get notification that my mom's flowers were delivered to?
I'll have to turn off focus mode, but yeah, that should be sometime today.
Yeah, that's why I asked that.
I'm tired. Leave me alone.
Okay, goodbye.
You had the zoomies last night till like midnight. Baxter woke up an hour later to go out.
Oh.
I didn't sleep.
No, I can't help that.
You can. Buddy, say good morning.
Good morning, Bodes. Say good morning. Good morning.
Buddy, give me a kiss. Buddy, right here.
Kiss.
Buddy,
Kiss.
No, not me.
Alright.
Winnie said I'll do it. How was your breakfast? You good breakfast. Okay, bye.
Bye. Winnie, in or out? Alright, you're staying in. Alright, let's get deleted transactions done. We got the names working. And let's go down to expense deleted. What do we do when an expense is deleted? I guess we just soft delete and I'm actually curious. Yeah, we'll soft delete. I think I have all the models updated to soft delete. So we basically want to come in here and say, let's say const underscore yield star. The first thing we want to probably delete is we'll do the splitwise expense. So let's do db.splitwise expense, delete expense. We probably want to pass an option to make it soft delete. Or do we want a separate function for that? We'll do a second function. So deleting transaction under splitwise, delete expense. We'll copy this and we'll say soft delete expense. And then we'll go down here and we'll yoink you and we'll say soft delete expense. We'll come in here, do that. And then we'll go here and we'll copy this. And we'll just do a soft delete here. We'll rename this to soft, make that capital. And then in here, rather than deleting, we are going to patch. And we're going to .set. And we're going to set deleted at to new date. Yeah. This will be soft delete. And we'll use that. Go down here. Soft delete expense. Do you want to paste that? Back into our John here, soft delete expense, and this is going to take, what all does this take? This takes a budget sync account ID, which will be budget sync account dot ID. It's going to take a type, whoa. Why did it do that? Good God. I think I need to fix my snippets. Look at that. My snippets are definitely messed up. But side quest. What would be Lewis snip? Whoops. Config history. Is that, I guess that would actually be my MVMCMP. It's like selecting, we've been off by one error. Is one of these indexed by 0? One of these is probably indexed by 0. I think this is the problem right here. Yeah, we want this. I think. And then we want you, yank, find you. The hell is happening to my keybinds right now? There we go. All right, that should fix that problem. What are we listening to? I'm nexting this. There we go. That fixed it. Let's go. And then we need the expense ID, which I think we just have, right? No, we don't. Expense.id. And then we need a group ID, which will be budget sync account dot splitwise group ID. And then created at will be don't we have the current expense? I have to do that. first. We'll do that. And this will have expense entity.id. What? There we go. And then this will be format sk, and we'll pass in the expense entity dot created at. Okay, so that was soft delete the expense. Soft deleted expense entity. We should get that. Cool. I guess we don't get that back. That's okay. We don't need it back if it's soft deleted, right? And then we want to probably want to map that. And we'll do export class soft. Let's just do this. We'll copy this, paste this here, and then we'll replace update with soft delete. And we'll map that error dot map pipe, and then we'll do effect.map error. And we'll get the cause, and we will return a new soft delete that, and it takes our budget sync account ID, which will be budget sync account .id. It'll take our cause, and it'll take the expense ID. So we'll say splitwise expense ID, and this will be expense entity .id. What are we missing here? Comma. We need one more. There we go. Expense ID. And yeah, that'll cause an error up above because we have to add that to our errors now. We'll just drop that in right there. And we'll go back. We soft delete that, and then after we soft delete the expense, we want to soft delete the YNAB transaction. So we'll do the same thing, yield star, and we can actually run these in parallel. db.splitwise, or concurrently, I should say, rather than parallel. Dot YNAB dot soft delete expense. This will be soft delete transaction. So let's go implement that. VectorDB service down here, copy that, soft delete, and we'll add that to the interface. Where are you at here? YNAB. Take this guy, yoink that, move that, soft. Delete that down here, go grab our delete. Yoink this. Come down here, paste that in, find these notes. And this becomes a patch. And then we say dot set, and we say deleted at becomes new date. This becomes soft delete, and then we move down here, update our interface, our return, soft delete, soft delete, YNAB. All right, now we have that, and we can pass this in here. And this is going to take our budget sync account ID. Yes, so much repetitive stuff. Type. We should really update this type to a utility function. We'll do that after I get done the main flow here. Actually, let's just do it. Otherwise, I'm never going to remember. Jump down here. We'll say export function get. I don't even know what to call that. Transaction type, I guess. And this will take a net balance, which will be a number. And we will say credit or debit. We'll come in here and we'll return net balance is greater than 0. It'll be a credit. Otherwise, it'll be a debit. Now we can come over here, and everywhere we have this, and we can say %s, paste that in, and we can replace that with get transaction type, and we'll pass in current users share dot net balance /g. We'll import that. There we go. That's extracted to a function. Let me catch up on chat. Kind of locked in. Where can we learn more about this project? I tried to catch up with the YouTube videos, but they're not in order. Recently started using YNAB after listening to you talk about the values, Brian. Nice. Nice. I hope you find the same value that I have and the people in my life have. So my fiance, Justine, and I, we each have our own budget in YNAB. So if you were to look, let me move this over. If you were to look at our budgets, I have Dylan's budget and Justine's budget. So we don't share the same budget, but we do share expenses. And generally speaking, Justine and I split expenses where I pay 60% of our shared expenses and shared savings, and she pays 40%, just as a like relatively close, like that's the proportion of our like income after taxes that we make as a household. So that's how we split things. And then when we have split expenses, we come in here and we log them, and you'll see that like the split here is like 60-40. So like if I paid $45 for this breakfast at Raccoon Coffee in Miami, the total is $45. I paid 60% of that, and Justin owes me 40% of the expense. So that's basically how we use Splitwise and YNAB. And we are, I'm making a tool to sync these with this kind of account, this cash account running in YNAB. So we get accurate spending category reportings. So it doesn't look like I came in here and like for this, the total was 100, but I really only spent 40. And I want better, like category tracking, so it actually reflects that I paid 60% rather than the 100%. So that's what I'm doing here. And we're also going to add some AI at some point to auto categorize, auto import, things like that. But the first step, in fact, I have an old version of this. It was a piece of software that I had running probably the longest. The old version is here. And this is open source. And this worked for a long time. But when it broke, it would take me like 2 or 3 hours to reconcile everything on my own. But it can give you a good sense of like, when is my first commit on this thing? September 6th, 2020. Oh no, even further. That's, oh, come on, GitHub. So August 24th, 2021, I wrote this thing and it was running. It's been running basically ever since. I turned it off a couple months ago because it stopped either YNAB. It's not YNAB. I think Splitwise changed their data model for payments, and it broke my script. But yeah, this was running forever. And you can see it kind of does similar stuff, right? But I've learned a lot since I wrote this the first time, and we have smarter ways to do this and how to handle errors better. Yep, I'm going to throw it on a cron. Exactly. Yep. And we're going to have it running. Before it was just running for me, but we're going to have it running for her as well. So her budget gets accurate reporting. So get transaction ID. I need you. Is this still on? Why don't I have that? I don't know why I'm not getting my... Oh, I need to move this up. Squiggly got me. And then we get the created at, which will be... Oh. Do I have to fetch? I need to fetch the old YNAB expense. I don't know if I had to do that. I must have had to do that and update it, right? Ah. Okay. That's okay. Then we'll also get const maybe YNAB transaction entity is equal to yield star db.ynab dot get transaction by ID, and this is going to take a transaction ID, which we can use our synced transaction dot YNAB transaction ID, and this is going to need some options on it, which I know it's going to need budget sync account ID, budget sync account dot ID. What else do you need? You need, what do we do wrong here? Yeah, here we go. Is that all we need? No, I was gonna say ID. Really? That's all I need to pass in? Okay, that's fine. So we can copy this, and we'll go ahead and make this, we'll replace the synced, and we'll say YNAB, and this will be budget sync. We don't need that one, we'll do that. And we'll map this error here. So we can pipe this, and because it's an option, we'll flatten it. Effect.flatten. And actually, this is a good teaching lesson right here, chat. So if you look at the type of this right now, why is that not toggling on inlay hints? I must not have inlay hints set up correctly with the new So we're getting an option back. So an option is either some, and you'll have this, or none. And if we do effect.flatten, what it will do is say, it will unbox that option. And maybe a better demonstration of how this works is if I get rid of this right here, this is going to return an effect. So let's get rid of this pipe quick. If we look at the effect that's returned here, it will return an effect. If it succeeds, it gives me an option. If it errors, we get an ElectroDB error, a budget sync ElectroDB, or excuse me, we get a duplicate YNAB transaction error, and it has no requirements. So if we come in here then and we flatten it, this will unbox our option, and you'll see now, if it succeeds, the option's gone and we just get our entity, but it adds this error case here, no such element exception. So we'll come in here and we'll flatten, and then we'll map our error if we have one. This will only run if we get an error. This will give us our cause, right? If we look at this, we'll see that this is all the errors that can happen. And we're gonna wrap that in YNAB transaction entity not found. And that's going to take, in fact, we're gonna have to import that. Maybe not. Oh, that needs to be new. And we can close this side, and that needs our YNAB transaction ID, which will be our synced transaction.ynab transaction ID. And then it needs our budget sync account ID. .id. And the reason why this is so verbose and we're doing such good error tracking here, we want to throw a cause on there too, probably, now that I think about it. Let's throw a cause on there, and we'll say schema .unknown. We'll see that in the spans, it's fine. Is because we're eventually going to turn this into a multi-tenant application. Not found. And I just want, when I do run into problems, oh, they didn't flatten. That's why I got away with that. Basically, when things go wrong, I wanted it to be very easy to debug. So rather than flattening this here, we're going to delete that. We're going to delete this, get rid of this pipe, and then we'll say, we'll do the same pattern we did here. That way we don't have to worry about the cause, and we'll let the database errors bubble. So we'll come in here, and this will be maybe transaction entity, and we need to yield that. Run the effect, and in here this will be YNAB entity not found. We don't need you. And then we have const YNAB transaction entity is equal to maybe YNAB.value. There we go. Yeah. And now down here, we have our created at now. We just did all that to get the created at. YNAB transaction entity created at. And that will soft delete our, basically probably want to do the same thing here as this, and we'll do a soft delete on the we'll say splitwise expense, and this will become YNAB transaction. And this will become YNAB transaction ID. And we'll copy this pipe, and we'll throw that pipe here, here. Yeah, there we go, like that. This becomes soft delete YNAB. Yep. This line gets deleted. That's YNAB transaction ID. Accept that. And we'll do YNAB transaction entity.id. Okay, we got a clear error message there. Yeah, there we go. Then the next step is making this a string and not a number. The final step is from here, we delete the transaction actually out of YNAB. So we'll do a yield star, delete, use our YNAB client dot transactions dot delete transaction. It's going to get a budget ID, which we have on our budget sync account, dot YNAB budget ID. And then the next argument is the transaction ID, which will be YNAB transaction entity dot transaction ID. And the next thing this takes is some init overrides, which we don't need to do. Let's see what we get back from this. We get transaction response data. That destructures to transaction. All right, so let's grab this again, and we'll make this error deletes D. Welcome back, Vafi. So most of these database transactions, so if you look at like YNAB or like my database client, if these fail, most of these have exponential retries on it. So like right here, if we fail to delete the transaction, which is generally going to be because of like a connection error, we'll do a exponential back off. But yeah, to retry with effect, it's literally just this one line, and you say how you want to do it. I could come in here and I could be like, retry it out once, and we'll only retry once. I could set it on like a schedule. So it really depends on the error, and because effect forces you to track every error, we have granular errors, and we can decide with each error how we want to handle it. Maybe some errors should basically end the sync script altogether, basically panic. Maybe some errors we want to do an exponential back off. Maybe some errors we only want to retry once, or maybe we don't want to retry at all. Maybe some we just log as warnings. But because we're so granular with it, we get the decision on how to handle them, and that's what makes resilient software. Delete. Actually, this shouldn't be entity. This is just delete. Delete to E, yanking word, viewing word, paste that. And we'll come in here and we'll pipe, and if we get an error, we will map the error, and we're gonna wrap this error. And the reason we're wrapping these errors is because we are in a higher up function call in the call stack, and we have more information. So the reason I'm wrapping the errors that come from lower in the call stack is because we have more error, or we have more data that we can enrich the error with when they do occur, and we go to debug. It gives us way more information. New delete YNAB transaction error, and this is going to carry data with it. All right, we'll get the YNAB transaction ID, which will YNAB transaction. Get that, and that needs our budget sync account ID. Let me see here. Nice, very resilient. Can you rank any good starting resources for Effect? Honestly, just start building. Like Effect is the kind of thing where the learning curve seems really, really steep, but it's realistically not. There's like 3 or 4 patterns that you need to learn, and once you learn like those 3 or 4 patterns, they're repeated basically everywhere. And it's like building with Legos. The docs have gotten much better.
Speaks the
There's a
gospel
really
of the camel.
good.
I speak the gospel of
Let me
the
see
dunes.
here. Who
The sand is in my
did this
veins.
recently?
Come right.
Thank you for the sub, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right here. Ben Davis put out a good video on Effect recently. Highly recommend. It's not so much learning Effect, but there's a link under here from Sandro. Sandro is the GOAT. He has so much good. This Effect Beginners course complete. This is really, really good, and it's free. So this is all free. It'll teach you how to use Effect. Very high quality. May I ask which? Oh, I just switched to the VTLS, right? What is the LSP info? VTS LS. I switched to that this week. And it's been way faster than TSLS, like significantly faster, especially in large mono repos. Hey guys, I'm looking for a bit of advice. I'm currently employed as a software developer, although I hate that it resizes when I move this. Although I rarely get to code, a lot of tasks at work are currently administrative or tickets and support. I really want to switch companies, but at the moment I feel I lack the ability to convince companies I'm actually capable of producing good products. Could you give me some examples of what companies look for in example projects when hiring? My advice, Fabian, is like, at work, to the extent that you can, start just like building your own little like automations and little tools to help you get done that administrative tasks, just so like you're doing some form of coding. And then outside of work, just start. I hate, for better or for worse in our industry, putting time in outside of work hours truly does make a difference. And as for what you should build, I can't really tell you that. My best advice is build something that you think is cool and interesting and is useful for you, your family, or friends, or something you would want to sell. If you're not building something that you are interested in, you're not going to stick with it. And the most important thing is sticking with it and putting in the reps and the time. So like, even if you don't know how to build whatever you think is a cool idea, just figure it out and grind on it. All right. Let's go ahead and add the cause. All right, we mapped that. Now the last thing we have to do is we have to soft delete the synced transaction. So let's jump over to here, and we're going to make a soft delete synced transaction. And we'll copy this, yoink that, 28 down, paste that in there, that be soft. And this ends up becoming patch. And then we set deleted at new date. And we update that to soft delete. And we got to add that to our interface. I think somebody asked earlier what database client I'm using. The underlying database client is ElectroDB, which is a wrapper around DynamoDB. back to sync. And then we'll come in here and we'll say yield star db dot soft delete sync transaction, and this will take our budget sync account ID. It's going to take a type, which will say get transaction type. What's this take? Yeah, net balance, current user share dot net balance, and then the created at will be synced transaction dot created at. You missing something here? Splitwise expense ID. Expense dot ID. In fact, we can just use synced transaction dot splitwise expense ID. Really, we can do this too. Synced transaction dot type. Actually, we can just pass in the sync transaction here. And then we'll want to, the last thing we'll want to do here is go create a error for that and map it. So let's do that. Paste that there. This will be delete. Actually, we can just replace that YNAB transaction, or replace YNAB actually, and that'll be synced /G. And we want to throw on the splitwise. Yeah. We can copy this. And we'll go down and finally pipe off of this. Throw that there. And this will become soft delete synced transaction entity error. And this needs our splitwise expense, which we will do synced transaction dot splitwise expense ID. Get rid of that comma. All right, I think that might be good. Right. Right. If that fails, become mail model. What's your preferred method of deployment when not using Vercel? Of course, I'm a Vercel Pro user, but I find myself using CDK or SST when building on AWS directly. I generally deploy to Fly IO if I don't use Vercel. Like if I need a long running process, I'll deploy to Vercel, but like now that we have fluid compute, and Vercel, what are we calling it? We originally called it Vercel Run, then we renamed it to Vercel Exec, and now it's Vercel Playground. Basically, we have long running processes, so like I don't really have a reason to deploy anywhere else other than Vercel at this point. What are we missing from our export here? YNAB. We will order these here in a second. Soft delete, sync. That should probably be the last one. Yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and sort these. Sort, there we go. All right, so we should have, we should be good here. So let's go ahead and create an expense and then delete it and see if we pick it up. Let's clear our data. So we'll delete all these, delete that. We will go into, is this the tab I want? I got an extra browser open here at some point. Yeah, close that one. We'll go to YNAB and delete these, reject those transactions. And then let's add a new transaction in here. And we'll say Vercel Pro, 20 bucks. We'll split it equally. We run. Cute.
A good fit?
Yeah, good fit.
Great, thanks.
So we should then see, yep, we got 3 expenses in there. And they should be Vercel Pro. Yep, great. And let's go check YNAB, see if that got in there. Yep, there's our 3 transactions. Good, 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 good. And now we're gonna go into Splitwise and we're gonna delete that Vercel one we just made and we should pick it up. Actually, let's rerun that again because the thing we want to test is that it deletes from YNAB. I'm gonna update this to return a tagged union too, so we don't get all those errors. All right, that looks good. Now let's go delete the expense. Oh, we did get, all right, that probably erred on deleting the YNAB transaction, but that's okay. Lose notifications, yeah, okay. That looks good so far. Let's make sure we got the 3 over here. And now when we come in here and we delete this, we should see this row. I'm not sure which one it is in here. We should see this row get its deleted at wherever those keys are. All right, let's just try running it. That's sus. Ah, look at that. Expense deleted. It completed. We should see one of our YNAB. There should be a deleted at column now somewhere. Deleted at. Vercel Pro. That looks good. I think we did it. Now if it deleted from everyone saw it disappear. Let's go. Let's freaking go. All right, as far as I can tell, we don't have to worry about undeleting expenses. I don't see a way to undelete unless there is like an API for it, which there might be, but yeah, I don't even see. I don't see that it's possible. All right. So the last thing we have to take care of is a payment. So actually, while I'm thinking about it, rather than returning errors on all these, I want to return a tagged union. We're going to create a type. It's interesting that it picked up those transactions. That's interesting. That's okay. Where's our sync at? We sync. We go through here. We order by that. We have the budget sync account here. I think we can actually filter. I don't think we have to wait to filter. This one right here. I think we can probably avoid this. And I think we can filter up here. Effect.end then. And we'll say r.filter. And we'll get the notification. And, oh no, we need the expense. Fuck, that's right. I keep, yeah. So what we really want to return here is like a const underscore schema dot tagged union. Can I do that? Tag struct. We can union it together. Yeah. And we'll say the first one is going to be processed notification. It'll just be processed. And we'll do notification ID, which will be a schema dot number, and then we'll have a expense ID schema dot number, and we'll have a budget sync account ID, which will be a schema dot string, and we'll have a date maybe. And then we'll have a skipped. Invalid. We'll just say skipped. And then we'll have reason. And right now the only reason to skip is that schema.literal it'll be invalid group ID, invalid splitwise expense group, or it can be already processed. And then we'll have, we'll make a const sync result is going to be a schema.union of both of those. So let's rename this as skipped and processed. This is basically how Rust's enums work. We're basically replicating like Rust's enums here. It'll be processed or skipped. And if we look at the type, export, we can export that type. Actually, we don't really need to export that. Export type sync result is going to be sync type of sync result dot type. And if we look at that, we get this nice skipped or processed. So we can come in here and we can say this is going to be a either sync result or a sync error. And we'll have to update this. Where in handle this, rather than returning a notification already processed, we're going to return a skipped dot make, and this is going to need probably these. What else does this need? The expense ID. Oh, we don't necessarily have the expense ID. So skipped. This can be optional. Date, new date, and then we need a reason, which is notification already processed. And now we can delete this, and that's not an error anymore. And the other one is invalid group expense. So we'll do the same thing here. Let's comment this out, and we'll say return skipped. In fact, we can copy that from 24 lines up. Paste that in there, and then the other piece we need, wait, did I not copy that whole thing? Yoink. Maybe persisted. And here we have the expense ID. So we'll do expense.id, and this will be invalid splitwise group expense. And now those stop returning as errors. And we can go, no, that's not what I wanted. undefined is not assignable. Where would we return undefined from? Oh, I guess I do need the tag, huh? Tag will be... We shouldn't need that. It should know. I mean, let's make sure that that is the error. I'm not convinced that is actually the error. Yeah, that's not it. It should automatically add the tag for us. So when does the Lambo money start rolling in? Restore expense begin delete? Yeah, it might be. Was that an API call? Oh, I know what I did. We'll go back. I'll answer chat, and as soon as I get this TypeScript error resolved, we just need to go down to here, and this is going to return processed.make, and this is going to take a date, new date. Really, we shouldn't even have to do that. Expense ID, expense.id. It's going to need a budget sync account ID, which will be budget sync account.id. Need a notification ID, which we should just have, right? And what else do we have? We don't need the tag. All right, that fixed that error. Nice. And let's go to main, and in here we can const results goes that, and we'll do a yield star effect dot log info, and we'll do a JSON. Bye.
Bye. How ridiculous do I look with the two greens?
What?
How ridiculous do I look with the two different greens?
Good, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Well, it's just a rain jacket anyways.
Results.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye. Have a good day. And now, if we run this, we shouldn't see errors. Instead, we're going to get back a bunch of that enum. Yeah, look at that. We'll make this look pretty too. Let's go here. Null 2. Although the actual logger might screw things up here. Yeah, I knew it would. So we can do... I'll just do a normal log. Grab this. There we go. Skip, 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 skipped. Everything should probably be skipped. Notification already processed. So let's go and clean up our database. And we're going to run this again, and I'm going to see it log what happens when it processes. Let's make sure we don't. Great, that looks good. Reject. Let's run again. There we go. So we got skipped, 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 skipped. Processed. There was a processed. Boom. That was an error, which we expected. How many processed did we get? That looks good. Do we make the transactions? That looks good. All right, last thing we have to handle is a payment. So let's come in here and we'll go to budget sync testing and we will settle up. We'll just say it's going to be a cash payment. Anders paid me $50.
The world.
Save. All right, now let's go look at what this looks like as a transaction. We can do this. In fact, we can limit one because this will be my most recent transaction. So it's recorded as a expense. That's not what I would have expected, actually. Well, we can go fetch that. Description is payment. Creation method is payment.
Speaks the gospel of the camel. I speak the gospel of the dunes. The sand is
Good
in
morning,
my
Nate.
veins.
20 months in a row.
right, oh, come
Good
on.
Lord. Thank you, buddy.
Today.
I appreciate you. All right, let me catch up. There's a restore. Yeah. As long as there's not a way to restore an expense from the UI, I don't care that much about covering it. In today's economy, would you double down on TypeScript or expand into Go or Rust? I would do both. I don't think. I think you should learn as much as possible, and I think traits of. I think it's really good for TypeScript developers in particular to learn languages like Rust and Go because I think there are good properties of those languages that we need more of in TypeScript. If y'all aren't following Nate, you absolutely should be. So make sure you give Nate a follow. All right, so how can we tell that this is a payment? Let's create another entity. You haven't streamed for over a year? I feel like that can't be true. It's had to be more recent than a year, right? Like even just a tiny stream or something? So let's go into our database entities and we are going to create a new entity for a payment. EffectTS, and we'll say splitwise payment.ts. Open that, vsplit, open our expense, and we can probably copy most of this. Throw that there. And this will become payment entity. Or do we keep it as credit debit? I guess we don't need a payment. We can just treat it as a we'll just set the category as payment. Or we can just add another type on here and make it payment. Yeah. Even though a payment is really just like it can still be a credit or debit, right? Maybe I don't want that. I hate using Boolean fields, but I'm kind of thinking that I want to. Is payment something like that. And then we can go, does that give us any type errors? No, it doesn't. That does help us reduce code. So in budget sync, this will be in a created. Can I update this payment? I can. What is your favorite exception or error? A well contextualized one. If we look at our list of errors here, where's our sync error? Our sync error. How many different errors can we get running this sync? We have 31 different errors that can happen while syncing. That's pretty crazy. Technically 30 because to do doesn't really count, but software is messy and complicated, chat. One thing we don't do well in the TypeScript ecosystem is handling errors with granularity. Rather than just throwing some generic error with some shitty half-thought error message and it being impossible to debug from like Datadog or traces, now we have all of this with context. So we need to be able to detect if if it's a payment. Sure. All right, so we do see the repayment API. And repayments ends up on a expense. All right, so we can figure out, I don't think that every one of these will have repayments. If we like do list current users expenses, okay, so there is repayments. So when we look on a payment, what's the easiest way? I guess we can look at the shares. I received that, and we just check creation method is payment. Percent. Okay. So we can look at creation method. So let's, otherwise this might just work. Although I'm gonna have to wrap up in a minute, but we should get this working tomorrow. We're like very, very close. Let's go to our prelude and we want to say export function is payment, and this is going to take a expense. Yeah, this one, and we'll say expense return expense dot creation. Oh, did we drop that? That's not on there, but we do see it here, right? Creation method. Yeah. So they don't have that field documented in their open API spec, but we're going to take advantage of it. So we'll just come in here and we'll say like here, creation method. We'll just do schema.string. It's fine. For now, we can do strongly type with schema.literal. Do we get any type errors on that? We want to remap that field to, that'll be creation method. Wow, I typed that wrong. creation method. Do I have a meeting right at 10? I do not, because my doctor's appointment got canceled. Okay, so we can spend a little extra time here. Okay, and then when we sync, we will, what is the way to do this? Yeah. We'll say is payment. Equals is payment. Oh, that's a stupid name. We'll pass in the expense. And we'll go rename this. Or whatever, we'll just say expense is payment. And that will be a Boolean. Now when we do expense added, on here we can say is payment, right? And it'll be expenses payment. We should probably update our other entity. Because if we update, we probably want to track it at the expense level and at the synced transaction level. So in here we'll come and we'll add is payment, which will be type, I hate using Booleans. Thought we fixed that. That was weird. Boolean, and then required is, we'll say default is false. And give that a nice little comma there. And then we can add that to where we create our synced transaction. And this will be is payment. And expense is payment. And how do we want to record expenses in YNAB? Oh, I have this backwards, chat, because technically Anders owes me $50. Oh no, it's a payment becomes How do I want to do this? I think we just invert the payment. The other thing is, like, it could be, we could set it to be like a payment, right? Like if we came in here, we could detect a payment and we could have a configuration that a payment transfers the balance to another account, right? And this would be like a outflow to 50. That's one way of doing it. I don't hate that. The other way we could do it is we get a payment Anders, whatever, I don't care what this is right now. And the outflow, we'll just say this is going to be a payment. That would go here, not inflow. And that nets it. That's probably the best way to do it. That's probably the best way to do it. Is treat payments as outflows, and then like I would end up getting a it would be like Anders ready to assign, and it would be an inflow here of $50, and that would come from Venmo, right? Or that would be the payment. I get that $50 there. Just keep this. Don't try to we'll keep this isolated and not try to tie it too much into the rest of the budget. Or we could treat it as a credit card. We'll play with that tomorrow. We'll play with payments, and there's the they have credit card accounts in here that we can also try to use. It might make because it is kind of like a line of credit, almost. Yeah, we'll play with that tomorrow. This should we should be able to get this working tomorrow, because we've got adding, updating, deleting, and now all we need is tracking payments, and then I can set this on a cron, and we also need to figure out the initial sync, but that's we can be hacky there to start. So let's find someone to raid. That was a lot of good progress this morning. Pretty stoked with that. We'll raid. We will raid Prime. All right, chat. Have a great Tuesday, and we will catch you tomorrow on Hump Day. And we'll get this thing actually running.